It is listed here that we're not recording, but we're actually going to try recording both the beginning and the end of the session to see what that's like. But for the most part, we will not be recording our breakout rooms to allow for confidentiality and for folks to really dive into their challenges. If you are connected via your video on your computer and then you're connected with your audio on your phone, if you could just make sure that your video and your audio are connected, this will be important in case as we go into our breakout rooms. So the way that you'll know that your phone and your video isn't connected is that your phone will be listed as a participant. I don't see anyone in that category, so everyone should be good for now. So that should be it for our housekeeping. We can go on to our agenda. We're seeing some more introductions. Love it. Great. So this is what we're going to be up to today. We will just do a really quick intro about the SGSO network. We'll dive into what we're doing here today at our solution sessions and share some group agreements. We'll have an overview of building culture in school gardens with John Fisher from Life Lab. Then we're going to dive into our breakout rooms for about 35 minutes and then come back together for a group harvest to hear about each other's breakout rooms. So a little bit about the SGSO network. We are an open peer-to-peer learning network. Our goal is to grow, sustain, and elevate a movement for equitable garden-based education. We do that by providing members at a school, district, regional, state, and national level with professional and leadership development, resources, and platforms to connect. The main avenues for achieving that we currently have are listed here with our webinars, in-person gatherings, and our digital commons. And if you'd like to learn more, you can find more on our website at sgsonetwork.org. But for some very specific things to look for, if you like this solution session and you'd like to join us for the next one, we're having another one on August 25th, diving into funding and sustainability. If we could go to the next slide, perfect. You can sign up to be a solution seeker, i.e. kind of present a challenge via our website, and the registration to kind of attend will be coming soon. So go to our website to check that out. In addition, we are just wrapping up a successful strategic planning process, and we're excited to share that with you all soon. A big part of that is forming a formal governance board. So there will be an open application August. So stay tuned for that. Great. So let's dive into everything about our solution session. So to start, we've got some key terms that we'll be utilizing. We've got our solution seekers, which are two presenters today that will be sharing challenges in seeking solutions. The rest of you all are what we are calling our group consultants, or folks who are just joining to just kind of share and provide support. And then finally, we've got our facilitators, which will be myself and John Fisher, to kind of help keep time and take notes. Great. So if you go to the next slide, please. First, I want to give some credit. The inspiration for these solution sessions was adopted by the Food Systems Leadership Network. We attended one of their sessions and absolutely loved the format. So kudos to them. If you haven't checked them out, they're a fantastic resource. So these solution sessions are really meant to be peer-to-peer, allowing you to have space for you all to support one another and get to the root of a challenge to allow for a solution that will be the most effective. And finally, kind of allow for the emergence and value of everyone's experience, even if it's not directly related. So don't undervalue anything that's kind of coming up for you as you're hearing these challenges and coming up with solutions or supporting our solution seekers with solutions. It's all relevant and helpful. So in order to allow for that, kind of for a brave and effective process, if you go to the next slide, we'll call in some group agreements. So, first, honoring vulnerability, recognizing that our solution seekers are really sharing their personal experiences and to kind of practice humility, kindness, compassion, both with our solution seekers and then also with those who share solutions and thoughts and questions. If you have something to share, we very much invite you to step up. Not everyone's required to speak, but we very much invite that. And if you found that you have shared, just to step back to let others share as well. We are requesting confidentiality for the folks who are, sharing. If you don't feel that you're able to do that, or if you feel that you're kind of in a conflict of interest with the group that you're in, don't hesitate to let the facilitator know, and we'll work with you to switch groups. And then finally, we just encourage you to share your own experiences or that of your school and organization. Great. So this is what we'll be doing in our breakout rooms. We will be providing intros, allowing for each person to kind of speak and get to know each other. We'll do an overview of the challenge, and then we'll give kind of 2 minutes for reflection. So just kind of chill, take some notes, think about your own experience, how it relates to the challenge, just really allowing you to slow down. And then we're going to invite you all to ask questions. So we'll start just with questions, encouraging you not to jump right into solutions, but just kind of seeking to really understand. Again, one of those intentions is getting to the root of the challenge. A question can be wondering if you've tried X, Y, and Z to kind of get more information, but really sticking to questions. And then we'll allow for our solution seeker to answer those questions kind of separately. So we won't do kind of one-offs. And they'll have a period of time to do that and kind of share insights from that. And then we'll finalize with solutions, allowing for you all to kind of share what you think this person should do. And we'll follow up with or finalize with a group discussion if there's time for that. So these are our groups for today. These are our challenges for today. So first, we will have Stephanie Fleet from Pleasantdale Elementary. She's a teacher, Pleasantdale in Atlanta, Georgia, wondering how to get teachers to use the garden for their own lessons. And then we will have Janelle Manzano with San Diego Unified School District with their Farm to School program, wondering how to connect food from the garden to cafeteria, kind of going beyond what they've already done to even deepening the connection there. So our goal is to have group sizes that aren't too big or too small, but we will be assigning you to a group. We would love to know your preference. We can't promise that you'll get your preference. But if you do have a preference, no need if you don't. But if you do, let us know by editing your name on Zoom, by adding to the beginning either a T to join the challenge on getting teachers to use the garden, or an F for joining the challenge and how to connect food from the garden. So in order to change your name, you can click on the participants, find your name, hover over the right corner, which states more, click rename, and then to the beginning of your name, add a T for teachers or an F for food, and I will assign you to a group. If you don't add a letter, I'll just randomly assign you. Again, no need to have a preference. And again, you may or may not be added to the group of your choice. So I'll do just wait just a second to see if there's any questions around that. Otherwise, I will pass it off to John Fisher, who'll be giving us kind of a quick overview of just building school culture in general, and providing a case study. Great. Well, if there's no further questions, I'm passing it off to John.
All right. Thank you, Tristana. So my name is John Fisher, and I work with Life Lab. We're a 42-year-old nonprofit in Santa Cruz that trains teachers and has school-based programs. But what I'm going to talk about is the school garden that I managed. And when my son started in kindergarten, he's long gone out of kindergarten now and out of that school. But what I recognize is to create a strong school garden, it's about the people. And this garden had been operating for 35 plus years continually. And I'm going to just share a little story of what I recognized that made a strong culture. And I'm sure your school gardens either have elements or all of this, or you're working towards these. But to me, this is what I recognized as being a strength. First of all, it's the people. University of Austin, Texas just did a study, and they found out that schools that had high investment from principals or administrators were 12 times more likely to succeed. And then teachers, if they had engaged teachers that were trained with curriculum, 4 times more successful to succeed. And of having a paid garden coordinator, 4 times more successful to succeed. So it's all about these champions and people. And I know not all schools have paid people to work in their school gardens, and that would be great if we can get there. But we could still build this culture without paid people by creating structure in your garden. So first of all, definition of culture. I studied anthropology. It's shared beliefs and understanding by a group of people, which in this case would be the school, the parents, the kids, the teachers. And it's sharing a space and activities and traditions. So I'm going to share those traditions and activities that built the culture at Pacific School. So first of all, it's just the garden space. So having a garden space that's welcoming, that could be used for events. When teachers retired, they'd have the retirement parties in the garden. There was always a place to sit, and I loved flowers because perennial flowers all over the space. The garden always is welcoming. So it's more than the space, it's what we do in the space. And we were fortunate to have a small school, and kids came out to the garden every single week. And I know every garden has different cadences in terms of how much they come out. You know, in California, a lot of our schools are every other week. They split the class in half, and half the kids go out one week and then half come out the other. But it's about that continual learning and that the kids have something to do. These kids here were taking down some data that they collected weekly. And so there was this continual practice of doing something in the garden that they're familiar with. It's tasting things in the garden, because what better way to sell the idea of a garden or get the garden to be a memorable experience for the kids is by tasting. And this particular experience, we brought in some honey from a local beehive, but really we taste a lot of vegetables. It's the work days. We always have work days, and we'd engage local community members. The guy sitting on the roof was a parent who was a landscaper who had some extra greenhouse plastic, and he volunteered to re-roof our shed. But we would always create opportunities for work days and invite in local community partners, the California Conservation Corps, youth groups. We would do work days, and the hours would go towards getting Disneyland tickets donated to our school that we'd raffle off. So we were like building value to our work days, and people knew if they showed up, we'd get more Disneyland tickets, and then more people would have a chance to bid on those Disneyland tickets on the school auction. But it's setting up traditional work days. College interns are there on the bottom right-hand corner, so we reached out to them as well. I mentioned the flowers. The flowers are key in this garden from my perspective, because we harvested weekly bouquets and put them in the office. We put them on the lunchroom tables. We put them in the classroom. And it was a skill that kindergartens to sixth graders could engage in by building bouquets once we taught them how. And flowers just keep giving and giving and giving. You don't have to attend to them as much as, say, a lettuce or broccoli. Annual parties. We had a garden tea party. We called it a grand Friends Day, where kids would handwrite invitations to someone special, and then they'd lead their visitors through stations. We'd do this per grade level or per class, and then we'd serve tea, and our kitchen would cook little biscuits or cookie type things. And then we had a light ask. What was cool about this picture, that guy in the green hat, he was a student, and his arm is around his mother. So she's a grandma and he's a parent, and his kid was not in the photo, but his kid was at the school. So like building this tradition of letting everyone know that the garden is there is strength. And that happens through an annual party, and everybody knew about it. And it was put on the calendar at the beginning of the year, and parents knew that they should attend. It's giving. We created lots of gifts. These were frames we built out of old pieces of lath in the garden, and kids took portraits of themselves in the garden. Those were Father's Day gifts. We did Mother's Day gifts. We'd cut succulents and put them in little pots. But having the garden give something back. With all those flowers we were growing, we collected the seeds and we started a seed business. We'd sell them right before Christmas. So stocking stuffing activities, kids are really proud. And of course, their parents would buy the ones that they designed. And we raised $160. It wasn't about the money, it was about the experience. And once again, bringing the garden through the garden seed packs into the office, putting it in the newsletter, letting people know that our garden was doing more than just classes. And then lastly, it's the food. This school has a cooking kitchen, and I know not all schools can have a cooking kitchen, but our garden was tied to the culture of our kitchen and our meal program. So anything we harvested, the kitchen would cook and put it in a meal, which is pretty darn special. That could happen in a smaller, way. You could just do it, a tasting in a salad bar, or do a tasting in a classroom, incorporating a little bit less than full-on harvest for meal production. So how does this happen? There was money involved. We would apply for small grants. Our parents club would contribute $5,000 a year, and that would help pay for our very part-time garden teacher. And then for the cooking program, they did have to raise about an additional $20,000 to have another adult in the kitchen, because cooking with 5 to 6 fifth and sixth graders every day needs more than just one food service director to make that happen. So hopefully I shared some ideas, and these are things that hopefully you're doing or could think about doing to bring more of an understanding and cross-pollination of all the different elements of your community through your school garden. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back off to Tristana.
Great, thanks so much, John. I am opening all of our rooms. I think everyone was able to get the room that they wanted. So we had a really even split. If you joined later, we are now going into breakout rooms for our 2 different challenges, and you are randomly assigned to those. So I hope you enjoy diving into either teachers or food. Awesome. Well, we're coming back to the end portion of our time together, coming into what we're calling our group harvest. So we're going to ask both of our presenters to just kind of share a quick overview, maybe about 3 minutes each, of a bit of an overview about their challenge, and then an overview of just some insights. Feel free, no pressure to kind of summarize everything, but just some things that you're walking away with. So we will start with Stephanie.
All righty. My challenge was getting teachers more involved in utilizing the garden. And the big things I've come away with are not putting it all on myself, asking some of our community partners if they have any programs or incentives that I can use to actually encourage the teachers to utilize the garden more. And that is not limited to, but including 4-H organizations, local Home Depot and Lowe's, and parents who are gardeners and willing to come in and spend time in the garden with the teachers and myself. Also to survey the teachers to find out what would encourage them more to use the garden and utilizing the garden as a location for social emotional learning breaks and workshops. So, and I loved when someone said we could actually each grade level might be encouraged if they grew a certain item that we can use at our fall festival or our spring festival for a complete meal. So each group grade level would create a component that would be used as a whole to celebrate with the whole school.
Great, thanks so much, Stephanie. And thanks everyone who joined in Stephanie's group.
Thank you.
Next, we'd love to hear from Janelle.
Sure. Yeah. So my challenge was how to create like a better collaboration and relationship between food services and school garden educators, and some awesome solutions that we only got to like a couple solutions at the end. Maybe I talked too much or something, but Lainey from Mount Diablo mentioned like that they're going to do some more cafeteria field trips for students so they could get the behind the scenes look on what's going on in the cafeteria and how food is produced. So better understanding of where food's coming from, which I loved. And then also, like she mentioned, that a lot of departments in public school districts, we're in our independent silos and we don't really know what's going on in each department. And she is gonna start having these like trainings so that the education side, the food services side, and another group will come together and in workshops to kind of understand what's going on in each department. And so maybe encourage and more collaboration at that end. And I think that's really, really awesome because I mentioned in my presentation that there's some lack of communication sometimes or understanding of where funding comes from, what it's used for, and what programming is currently happening that can be tied in with some lessons. So yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's good ideas to start off with. I'm moving from part to full-time at San Diego Unified next year, so that's exciting. And so I'm this past couple of years, I've just been working with what was already started in the past. So seeing how I could expand that and create more cohesive and better school garden education relationships within my district is going to be a thing that I'm going to explore next year, I think. So yeah.
Great. Thanks so much, Janelle. Those sound like some great solutions. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you to our 2 solution seekers. Thank you to everyone who joined and provided your thoughtful questions and solutions. If you could be so kind, this is our first solution session, so we would love to know what your thoughts are. So we'll be sending a survey around probably tomorrow via email. If you could fill it out and help us continue to build on this practice and hopefully do these on a regular basis to allow for folks to receive solutions, to allow for you all to learn from each other in that process. If you'd like to join our next one, again, it's August 25th. And if you'd like to present a solution under funding and sustainability on August 25th, go to our website. You can fill out the form to do so there. We had 2 presenters today, but there's no limit to how many presenters, maybe not like 100, but we can definitely have more than 2. So don't be shy if you'd like to present a challenge. You can find us on the social medias at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at SGSO-Network. And feel free to reach out to me directly, Tristana at sgsonetwork.org, or head to our website. But thanks again for joining us, and hope you all got some good solutions out of this.
I did indeed. Thank you all so much again.
Great. Thanks, everybody.